everyone, and welcome to the Team Empire podcast, the very first episode of us being Team Empire instead of the Butter Pod. We've just changed over. I'm obviously your host, Shannon, and I'll introduce our beautiful guest in just a second, but I just wanted to mention that our sponsor of this podcast is the amazing Infinite Aesthetics. We love you guys. Thanks for sponsoring the show. You can use the code EMPIRE to get a discount now as well, since we've changed everything up, which is fun. A couple of little trigger warnings on today's episode. I swear a lot. My guest might swear, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. And we're going to be talking about lots of things that might be triggering. So there's a little bit of eating disorders in there, competing, maybe about PEDs, just stuff like that. So if any of that triggers you, get ready because we're diving into it all. But my guest today, I'm so excited. It's a beautiful figure athlete, Melissa Exton. How are you, babe?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming on the pod. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I feel so honoured.
Oh, obviously we're going to just dive into all of the topics, of course, as you know, but we're going to start off how I very first saw you already know this, and you've probably heard it a million times because I've talked about you on Shay's pod and George's pod, a lot of pods, but last year in Nationals, like, it's always the ones when I go to these comps that I don't expect, and then they just fucking blow me away, and you were that person in Nationals last year. This year at the Body of Steel, it was that James Rodinio guy, and he was just, well, holy shit. But you at Nationals, babe, it was crazy. Like you walked out and you just owned it, and everyone was like, wow. I was in the crowd, everyone was like, holy crap, this woman's just got like something about her. But talk to me about Nationals. Did you enjoy it? What was it like from your point of view? Was it a fun show? Did you have a good time? Were you feeling great? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. And it's funny that you say that you really enjoyed me on stage because I actually missed the call out. So I had to run all the way from the bathrooms to get to stage for my first time on. So I was like in panic mode. My heart was racing and I mucked up my routine. But you didn't know. So that's good.
Didn't notice, no idea, not even puffed, breaking a sweat.
It's so good. I absolutely love Nationals. I did the Christchurch show 3 weeks earlier and I was kind of contemplating not doing Nationals, but because of my placing, Shay said I needed to make the most of being a novice athlete in the stage time. So I was like, why not? I'm either going to go watch, I'm going to do it. It was such a cool experience. It was different to Christchurch. Christchurch, we had girls in one room backstage and guys in the other, whereas Nationals, everyone was mingling together, which was really cool. Meeting new people, hanging out for a few hours, and I absolutely love being on stage.
Nice.
Like I feel like I've found my happy place when I get up there, which is crazy to me because I was the girl at school that couldn't do speeches. I did dance during my teens and my childhood, hated the performance side on stage, but yeah, completely different when it comes to bodybuilding. Absolutely love the experience.
How cool, babe. It's kind of cool when you come from different backgrounds and then you find your way here, isn't it? But talk to me about when did you get into bodybuilding? Like, when did it all start for you? Because obviously I saw you at Nationals, but how much earlier than that did you begin this process? Like, when did it all start for you?
Do you want to know when I started in the gym?
And maybe start from there and then ended that transition. Yeah.
3-ish years ago, 3.5 years ago, I got kind of into the gym, but it was more like cardio fitness. I've always been on the curvier side and I went into the gym wanting to lose weight. I wanted to be thin. That was kind of what the social norms were at that point. Yeah. We were still kind of in this whole thigh gap kind of era. And I just wanted to be thin. I was sick of not fitting clothes or feeling uncomfortable. I had no idea what I was doing, but I would do circuits in the gym. It was not a good relationship with the gym or food at that point. Went down a bit of a rabbit hole. Obviously, we're going to talk about other things in the podcast down, but I made some friends and they trained with weights. So I got invited to go and train, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I think my first session I ever did was a chest and shoulders session. And I was so scared being in with the boys because I started off being in a female gym, and so I went to just a public gym. I think it was City Fitness, and fell in love from that point. That was like 3 years ago, and then from then I've just been committed to trying to get strong. Always wanted to be stronger than the boys. I did dragon boating before I started the gym, so I had a little bit of strength there in my upper, so that was cool. I was just training for maybe a year. I enjoyed meal prepping and just getting stronger. There was no intention of bodybuilding. I often had people come up to me and ask if I would ever compete, and I was like, no, I just love the sport, but I will watch. I won't even jump on stage. It's not me. And I just carried on doing it. And then I had a thought one day, seeing everyone else prepping, that why not? Why don't I give it a go? My lifestyle is basically what a bodybuilder does. I'm meal prepping all the time because I'm intolerant to everything. Yeah. So I'm always meal prepping my food, and I go to the gym 5-6 times a week. So would have been 2 years ago I decided that I was going to give it a go.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah, and I needed to find a coach at that point, and that was a really hard thing to do because there's so many coaches out there, and trying to find the right person. I didn't want to go with someone that everyone was going with. Yeah. And I wanted someone who didn't have a huge group of athletes so that I could have a little bit more time and attention since I was a newbie. Yeah, it's been that's been my life ever since.
Nice, babe. I love it. What do you think? So we'll jump more into your fitness journey, how you got into the bodybuilding thing, but what do you think people should do when they are looking for a coach now? Because New Zealand is quite small. I guess we only have a limited amount, but there are still quite a few. So would you say looking at their athletes is a good thing? Or would you, because you actually had a niche point there that you wanted someone with less athletes so you would get more time with them. Not everyone would understand that though, but yeah, that's a great idea. But it's so true. Someone with like 1,000 athletes is going to have very little time for you. But what do you think how do you think someone would find find a coach in sort of today's world in New Zealand? What do you think they should look for first?
I would probably give the advice that I was kind of going off, like how when I was choosing, I spoke to a few people who had online coaches or in-person coaches, and I was kind of tossing up. I'm like, in-person would be great because then they can actually help me, especially having an eating disorder in the previous years. I'm like, I need someone to support me more than probably your average person to make sure I don't go down the negative hole again. Yeah. I messaged a lot of online coaches, and a lot of them replied with copy and paste type messages. Yeah. So for me, that was like, oh, this doesn't feel personal, like you actually want to help me. Yeah. So my first coach was Daniel Folks. A few people might know who he is. He was the only coach that replied to me with a personalized message and kind of laid out what his offerings were and how he could help me. And he also put at the bottom that if he wasn't the right coach for me, he was going to help me find the right person. Oh, cool. And that to me like sold it completely. I was like, okay, he cares because he knows I've struggled with food and my relationship with food, and I need more support. So that was it really. That made my decision. So I would say message coaches, see who you fit with, and if they're the best slot for you.
Yeah, that's a great idea, definitely. Yeah, it's so sad when you get like auto responses because this is a sport and you're looking for a coach for a sport. You're not looking for a lifestyle coach or just like a trainer or whatever. You're actually looking for a coach. Like, so it should be personal. I think that's a good way you can like cull out some of the bullshit kind of thing, you know. So that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good, babe. When did you do your first comp? When did you very first step on the stage? Where were you and what comp was that?
The initial plan was to do 2021, I think was the plan, but I got a back injury, so that kind of put it on the back burner, which was kind of a good thing because I don't think I was mentally or physically in the right spot to prep. So I ended up jumping on stage for the first time last year in September here in Christchurch.
Oh, nice. So it was like quite quick. You did like your September show, and then it was like, was it October or November was Nationals? Hey, so it was like
there was a 3-week gap in between, which was quite rough for a first show and a first season. I didn't actually realise the stress that peak week has on your body and the recovery from that.
Yeah, so true. And then did you reverse diet your way out of that? Did your coach take you through that? And did you do a good job of it? Or did you just kind of like, man, like a little bit?
Real committed. to the reverse, especially. I knew how hard it was going to be.
Yeah, you know.
I knew that was going to be harder than the prep itself because you don't have that end goal, and you need to mentally be able to and physically stop yourself from just eating things when your hunger hormones are completely screwed.
Yeah. Yes.
Obviously dieting down so much and not listening to hunger cues for 6-7 months, I needed to try and relearn that again. After show. I did reverse out. I would say that I was really good with my reverse until maybe the Christmas time, and having all the family gatherings, the work things go on, people were baking. I did let it slip slightly. I still kind of kept the routine, but it was the snacks on top of.
Yeah.
So, my off season, the start of my off season was tricky, and I did put on more body fat than what I would like when I look back, but it was my first ever reverse, so I am proud of how I handled it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. They kind of I think most people do. I don't think there's many athletes that are like, first reverse, I got it now the first time. Like, I think
you just don't hear about it, and if you do, it's like 1%.
Yeah, it's rare. Like, they're an Olympian level kind of an athlete by the end of it, but it's so hard, and I think it needs to be talked about more, and your coach should really talk about that with you when they're putting you through your prep, and be like, hey, at the end of this prep, end of the show, you're going to have to actually kind of continue. Like, it's not the end of it, but what did you think of the Christchurch show last year? Was it good? Did you have any other figure girls on the stage? Like, what was the show like? Because obviously I haven't been to a Christchurch show. What are they like down there?
It was actually really good. It was the wellness pro, cool. They were giving a pro card for that, and I think it might have been classic physique that they were giving a pro card out. So the fact that it was 2 pro cards made it a busy show, and there was some amazing athletes from the North Island that came down. It was amazing, actually. It was a really good show, and I'd say it was one of the bigger shows of last season, looking back and watching the live streams and things. It was really good. Really, really good. Met some beautiful people out the back, and some that I now still have connections with. I had some friends come down and watch. The crowd was basically full. Yeah, it was amazing. The Christchurch show was really good.
That's so cool, because it's the only South Island show, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Wow. We only get one.
You only get one. Everyone's got to go to Christchurch, like, congregate. But it's good. As long as we've got one down there, we're not complaining. We're happy. There's one there.
Exactly.
It's not too far for you to go, is it? So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there was the most figure athletes at that show as well. So that was really nice for us figure girls to have a group, because often it's the smallest category, one of, and same with women's physique. There's often maybe 1 or 2 girls until you get to nationals, and then everyone's all together. I had, I think overall with being, it's split differently to bikini, but there's a short and a tall category for novice, and I think overall there was maybe 5 of us, 4 of us, and then an open short, there was like 4 or 5 girls, and then in tall there was 4. So that's the biggest show that I've seen with figure in a wee while.
Definitely. That's good bunch of girls to battle it out. I love it.
It was really nice, actually. My fear was being on stage by myself, so.
That would be the scariest thing, but some of the girls get up there, they do it, and I'm like, I'm so happy that you did it, because you're still going to get to nationals, and then you get to, like, go battle with the girls there.
Exactly. I think there was more figure girls at Christchurch than there was nationals.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's not right. Let's get them all up there. Just give them all confidence.
No, it's not right.
Nah. What do you think, speaking on that, actually, what do you think the figure division might need to have more of a pump? I feel like you and Shay, there's a few girls that are doing some, like, really good stuff of, like, pumping it up, and it's looking like you make it look appealing, like, for sure. So what do you think? Do you think there is anything that needs to be, do you have any ideas for how to pump the figure division up a little bit? Because there's so many women who have great genetic potential for it. Is it just a little bit less known about? What do you think it is?
I think it is less known, but I know that it's growing. There is quite a few girls that have messaged me, and probably Shay will have the same thing, talking about how, like, cool it is seeing females with more muscle mass than what your bikini and your wellness have. It's completely different kind of physique, really. We're creating curves in our upper more so with our lats and things like that. just more awareness that like you don't need to take PEDs to grow muscle too, because I think a lot of people have this stigma that females to get to this point need to be taking something, or it's unattractive for women to have muscle because they'll look manly. I get that all the time. Aren't you worried about being manly? I'm like, no, because genetically I can't look manly.
Yeah,
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I just think it needs more awareness on social media that it's attractive for females to lift heavy and try and build muscle. And your upper especially. I think a lot of young girls get into the gym just wanting to build their glutes and their legs. But it's important to build an upper as well and build your lats, because it gives the illusion that you have larger glutes and bigger legs if you can build up, because your waist looks smaller.
For sure. It builds shape and like size, and it's fun to get strong and gain muscle. And absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So it's more like the stigmas, isn't it? So it's like the muscle, you look masculine or whatever, but you're not. You're gonna feel like a fucking boss is what you're gonna do. Like, trust me, get yourself some pounds, man. Mine have grown like half an inch, and I'm like, fuck yeah, like, I'm like, so
yeah, but that's awesome though.
It's so much fun to grow. Like, honestly, you got, like, as a woman, like, to feel strong and look strong is like, it feels like it's not the norm, but it gives you so much power. Like, you feel so much, just, I don't know what it is. You'll probably know what I mean, and girls who lift will know what I mean. But getting stronger does something to you mentally and internally that seems like it should just be physical, but it's not. I totally agree. We should just pump up Figure a little bit more on socials and just everywhere we are, and doing things like this, like pods and stuff as well.
Exactly. I love bikini and I love wellness, but Figure definitely has my heart, and I can see that there is more young girls coming through that are falling in love with it too, which is really awesome.
I love it. I think it's great too. And like everyone's like, oh, wellness is going to be cute. Wellness is tiny. In New Zealand, wellness is really small still, isn't it? But it's trying to get these girls to not be afraid of building muscle. So let's talk about PEDs. We'll just touch on this now since we're in the topic already, aren't we? So you are a natural competitor, right?
I am, yeah.
Natty girl. Not that there's anything wrong with jumping on PEDs, but
no, definitely not. It's all own preference, really. But no, I am not taking PEDs.
Love that. So do you feel like, well, obviously you've had coaches, and have either of those coaches sort of tried to introduce you to PEDs, or are you pretty much just like, I'm doing this to my maximum potential and then we're going to see what we do after that? Like, what has your coaches influenced you in any way, or are you feeling like this is just my journey? You know, they haven't really influenced anything.
Yeah, I have had a conversation. I've had a couple of coaches before having, because Shay Crotty is my coach now. Okay. But before Shay, I have had someone say to me, if I want to go far in this sport, I'm going to have to seriously consider taking things. If I want to get my pro card, I'm going to have to take stuff, which was kind of a hard thing to hear. Also had friends and other people in the industry try and tell me that I'm going to need to, and it's the only way to do it. But yeah, and it's kind of hard because you sit there and you do listen to it, and it opens your eyes up a little bit to be like, oh yeah, I mean, like, look at what I've done naturally. Imagine if I took things. But it's not nice when someone's trying to like force something on you that you haven't actually considered yourself. Yeah. Shay's amazing. Obviously, she is a natural figure pro, and so she has never said that to me at all, which is great because it's not in my plan at all.
Nice, babe. And you're still going. You've only just got started. Like, we're still warming up, you know? So, like, your maximum potential could be 2 years, 5 years down the track. We don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen, or
there's lots of research on it, and often it's like you've got 5 years of natural potential, building muscle mass, of training properly. If I look back, I've probably only been training properly for 18 months because I've had a back injury. I only just got started in the gym, wasn't really following a program. I've probably only been training properly for 18 months. I've still got years ahead of me of being able to build muscle.
Yeah. And Shay's a great proof is in the pudding kind of person, like, because everyone's like, oh, you can be, because I've had bikini pro athletes on the pod like many times, WBFF ones as well, but like Kate Carroll, she was natural, and she is natural, and she was competed and got her pro card natural. So Like, it's so possible, but when someone's like, oh, it's figure though, like, oh, you can't do it in figure though, but Shay did it in figure. Like, there's so many people that have done it in figure. What are you talking about? Like, there's pros all over the world that are natural. So yeah, it might be more like there's more people that are pros on PEDs, but that doesn't mean that you can't get there. Like, just because you're not. It's crazy the kind of mindset people have, and I feel like the strength in your mindset of like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you guys can all sit down and shut up. I feel like that's really good. I feel like that's so strong of yourself to like just hold your own and just not let it get to you too much, or it doesn't get to you too much.
Yeah, I've always been like that though. I'm not one to just follow what is kind of told. I think things through myself first. I make my own decisions. Like, I'm not just going to wear something because it's in fashion at that point, you know? Like, I'm not going to just take PEDs because it seems to be what majority of people are doing. Like, especially in figure, it would probably make me grow a lot of muscle really, really quick, and that would be amazing. But I think the sport, you need to have patience and consistency. So,
and you're like a role model now. Like, as much as you like athletes in New Zealand probably don't think they are, they really are. And like a lot of people look up to Shay, and the more and more people are knowing who you are, they're going to look up to you as well. And the same thing, like you're doing like what people think is impossible, and it's just like you keep doing that stuff because it blows people away. You know, people don't understand. They're like, oh my god, it's possible. It's like, yes, it is. Like, anything can happen, and just like watching you grow is just like so much fun. So how much have you changed from that first show to like now, before you've even competed for this year? But like, do you feel like there's a lot of change in your physique? Are we going to see a different Melissa on the stage?
I'd hope so. I feel like I've done a lot of comparison. It's been nice this prep, having photos and videos, and even looking back at my check-ins to see the difference in how I've been feeling. I'd say my physique has changed quite a lot. I've put on a decent amount of muscle mass in the places I needed to. I'm very excited. I'm still a wee way out, but I'm looking leaner in my top half at the moment than I think I was for Christchurch last year. And I've just built more lats too, which has enhanced my shape. My legs, completely different. Last year my legs needed a lot of work. I hadn't built much muscle mass on there. So it'll be exciting once show comes to actually be able to compare properly. But I'd say you're going to see a slightly different physique, which is cool.
It's exciting, and I'm on your close friends, so I'm like, yes, I get in my close friends, so I can see these progress changes. Like,
posting all the things I don't need other people to see, you know.
And it's just like chicken photos. It's a little person, you know. Like, I don't know, some people just don't. You just don't want them to see it, but like, I love it. It's so good, and I can definitely see the changes. Do you have like a weakness and then like a strength in your physique? Is there like, okay, cool, delts are fine, Shay's like, don't touch them, and then it's like a weakness like hammies, or I don't know. Is there any of those for you? Like, I feel like we all have them, don't we?
At this point, I'd say my legs are still my weak point, and I say that because I hold a lot of water. My fluid retention, depending on what I do, whether it's diet or stress, can be pretty bad. So being able to get them lean enough to show off what's under it without holding a ton of water, that's going to be the hardest point moving forward. For prep, and maybe just the density of muscle in my back. Like, I've got the width, but maybe I don't have enough like dense muscle, but we'll see. Strong point would just be, I guess, my shape in general. I'm quite lucky. Genetically, I've always had kind of an X shape and have been able to build on that. So
nice, babe. I love that. Can we do a little announcement of what show you might be doing this year?
Yeah, so I've been keeping it to myself because last year a lot of people were giving opinions on me being lean enough or not lean enough, and I didn't want to give people the opportunity this year to do that. I just wanted to put my head down and work and just share it with my close friends. But I am doing the Christchurch show, so I'm 7.5 weeks out today.
Wow, how exciting!
I know, it's coming around so quickly.
Is it August, babe? What has dropped the date for us? When is it?
I'm probably going to get this wrong. It's the 2nd or the 3rd of September. It's the Saturday of that weekend.
Gotcha, I'm with you. So everyone in Christchurch, go watch the Christchurch show. It'll be fun, and you're going to be up there on the stage. Do you know Lara as well, who's on my team member Lara? She's Bikini Girl. She's going to do Christchurch. well, I think. So
It's exciting.
yeah, a couple of girls on the stage that I know, but it'll just be a great show anyway, won't it? It'll just be so much fun.
Yeah, and I can tell that figure is going to be one of the bigger categories or the bigger figure shows this year too, because there's quite a few. There's a young girl from down south that's competing. I know of a couple of others. My best friend Brooke is doing her first show in figure as well, or her first ever comp. So it'd be cool to be on stage with her. Yeah, it's going to be a really good show.
How cool, babe. It's going to be awesome. And you'll have your coach and everyone, like obviously all your family. Everyone could go watch, right? It's Christchurch, so you don't have to go anywhere.
Absolutely, they can.
Yay, how fun. I'm so excited for you. Hopefully, I don't know if they do live streams for the Christchurch show, but oh my God, I really hope they do, because I can't go there. I mean, well, I can, but it's like so close.
Yeah, they did last year because they had the ability to do so, and they used YouTube because of the venue. I'd say where it is being held, it's at Christ College this time. Hopefully they would have the technology to do it and they link into it. But yeah, fingers crossed. Even just a Facebook live stream would be amazing.
Yeah. Give us something we want to watch from Auckland and like shout it out. Let's talk a little bit about your training and stuff. Do you have a split at the moment? Do you have like a set does it change all the time? Are you doing a lot of cardio? What does your training look like at the moment? This far out from show
at the moment, and has kind of stayed the same all the way through from my reverse off season to now. It's just obviously the reps and sets change slightly as I begin to lower on energy. I'm a 5-day split, and then I get 2 rest days, which I was hesitant with last year. I was like, no, I've always trained 6 days. Why? I don't want to rest twice. But yeah, I'm 5 days on. I always start the week with shoulders and tries, and then it's back and biceps, glutes and hammies, then I rest. I need to think really hard on this. Oh, and then I've got alternate weeks. So one week I'll have another like push session, so whether it's like shoulders and chest, and then the other week will be back and chest, and then I'm quads and calves, and then rest again. So yeah, cardio's not actually too bad. Like, I can't complain. I'm 45 minutes on the stairs if I choose to go on them 5 times a week, so on training days. And then one of my rest days I've got a 30-minute bike, which I'm so lucky to have a bike in the garage. So yeah.
Nice, babe. I love that. What's your favorite training day? Like, if you're like, oh yeah, back and buys, or like, what is your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, back and buys. You can't be a figure girl if back's not your favorite.
I know. I was like, she'd better say back and buy better just put you in it. You're like glutes. I'd be like, what the
fuck? No, I really, really dislike training legs. Like, I hate it. I had to really amp myself up.
Yeah.
Hence why the quads and the calves is like the last one.
Yeah.
That's a Saturday, and I have usually all day to hype myself up to go to the gym.
Get there at 5 p.m. like finally.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding though. I do go at 5 p.m. on a Saturday. It takes me all day to convince myself. I do everything else first, like my meal prep. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, I better go.
Yeah, I've got to go do it now. Caffeine up. Yeah. Get in there. Oh my gosh. Oh well, that makes sense. Back and buys. Yeah, I like back and buys too though. I feel like back, there's so much to do. Like, there's so many fun things and like ways to target it. Parts of the muscle, so it's like, yeah, it's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, and getting a back pump is so nice too. So it looks good.
Back and shoulder pump is like the best. I love it.
Yeah.
And what about your food? What's your food like? Can you share anything? You don't have to obviously go into detail if you don't want to, but where are you sort of sitting with your food? Like, are you eating a lot? Have you dropped calories yet? How are you going with all that?
Yeah, so with my eating disorder past, last year we got calories and macros removed off my plan. I asked Shay to do it at like 10 weeks out, so the numbers didn't impact my head. This year, as soon as I started prep, gone. Yeah. Don't even want to know. I just tell me how much to eat and I'll eat it. Yeah. So I actually couldn't tell you how much I'm eating. I feel pretty good at this point. I know that I'm eating more than I was last year. We've just done gradual drops of carbs and protein and fats each week, different combination depending on what stage I'm at. But yeah, I'm eating a lot of whole foods. I have some dietary issues, like I can't have gluten, I can't have dairy, I'm allergic to all nuts. I also have IBS, which makes it tricky with vegetables. So my diet at the moment is very, very clean. We've removed things like Diet Coke and stuff because the sweeteners mess with my tummy. Breakfast is like cream of rice, protein powder, banana at the moment, or on rest days, protein pancakes still. I have a feeling they're going to be removed this weekend.
Yeah.
And then I get like rest days 3 meals of meat, kumara, and beans, green beans. Training day is 4 of those, and then a post-workout still Cocoa Pops and protein powder, but same thing. I think that'll get changed this weekend to be the cleaner option, which is cool because I don't mind.
Yeah.
So just clean, and I ate the same thing in my off season.
Yeah.
I eat plain food. I don't add spices or herbs or sauce. It's plain always because I can't eat things with garlic and onion, which is most sauces and spices. So I'm just plain clean food like all the time, which has made this prep a breeze because I haven't had to adjust to eating plain food with just salt like I did last year. So
it's just a matter of finding what works for you. And the alternative, I think people are like, oh my God, that's so boring and what a bodybuilder diet. It's not even that. It's like because I have similar issues like sensitivities. The alternative is horrendous. So it's like, I'm happy to eat this fucking basic shit because the alternative, not only will it sort of interrupt my prep, but also there's the feeling for days is like, nobody wants that, right? You know, just the effects.
It's so not worth it. And like I said earlier, my water retention is really bad. So around my stomach, if I eat something that's not agreeing with me, then my whole body is inflamed. So it's so not worth it. And I do get comments in my off season like, go live your life. Like, why are you eating like that? And I'm like, well, I can't really go out and buy something anyway. So I am going to eat clean, plain food. And I'm an organized freak.
Yeah.
I like ticking the boxes and having lists and things. So meal prepping and whatever, that's just my life.
This is how
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun. You always organize. It makes it easy. You spend less money. Like there's a few perks, right? There's definitely it's a bodybuilding lifestyle. Got to think like an athlete, eat like an athlete. Let's talk a little bit about. We'll dive into the eating disorder stuff. Hey, we'll go into that while we're talking about food. So your eating disorder. I've had eating disorders myself, similar to you, but also some different. So it's something that we can both kind of relate on. But where did yours do you kind of remember how it started? Like, do you remember sort of like any triggers that happened, or did it just kind of out of the blue? And do you feel like you've overcome it, or it's still a little bit there, but you've managed most of it, if that makes sense? So give me a little bit about where you're at now.
Well, where I started, like if I look back, I'd say it was like 2018 and I had gone through a breakup and I used food as a coping mechanism. I'd say especially from like childhood and stuff, like you'd have a bad day at school, you come home and mum be like, here, let's get some takeaways for dinner or something. Like food just becomes, it's just normal for food to be a coping mechanism for emotions. So I went through a breakup in 2018 and just ate my feelings so badly. I did that for a couple of months and I went on a night out. I actually remember the photo completely. Went to a friend's birthday, we were taking photos, and I just saw a photo of myself the next morning and I looked at it and I was like, holy, I need to change what I'm doing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to lose weight. So I looked into calorie counting, and at that point there was a lot of social media posts about the 1200 calorie diets that girls were doing, and I was like, wow, it's working for others. Like my Instagram's full of it and all these different workouts and things that were cardio based. So I started doing that. The weight was coming off like at a good rate and I was starting to feel happy in myself, and I got obsessive. I was intermittent fasting. I wasn't going out and having meals with family. It gave me mad anxiety because I didn't know how many calories were on my plate. Like just numbers were ruling my world. I had an Apple Watch. I wouldn't stop a workout until I'd hit a certain amount of like calories burnt. I was crazy. I was like hit workouts. I think I ended up losing. I went from 78 kilos down to 57.
Wow.
I was having some really bad health issues when I was 57 kilos. I was having vertigo. Every time I stood up, I'd almost fall over. Yeah, I got really sick. But while I was sick, I was like, oh, I'm not moving, so I need to eat less. I ended up eating 600, 700 calories a day because my watch was telling me that I was only burning so many, so I didn't want to eat more than, because my fear was putting on weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look back at photos and the check-ins that I did with myself in the mirror, I looked happy at first, like losing weight, and then I looked so unhappy. Like I got to this goal weight that I thought I'd be happy with. These photos, man, I look so depressed and so gaunt and unhealthy. There was no muscle on me. I had no energy. I was irritable. Yeah, just being thin, and it wasn't what it was cracked up to be, what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then when I got better and could move, I started binging because my body had been so deprived for so long of certain foods. I didn't cut out carbs or anything like that. I kind of did a if it fits your macros kind of thing while eating like nothing. I started binging and I just was uncontrollable. I'd say I was probably eating 7,000 calories in one go, and I was maybe doing this every 3 days. In the bathroom crying because I needed to vomit. I was in so much pain from eating so much food. At first it started, I was like, actually it was still healthy food. I was like eating 3 bananas in one go. I was having like chicken and rice, and then I was having eggs on toast. Like it wasn't anything. I wasn't like binging chocolate and stuff. My body was just needing nutrients. It was screaming out for food. And so painful bloating for days after, and I'd just get better and I'd start this whole, I'm gonna refresh and start my diet again. It didn't happen. It was a vicious cycle for a very long time. People around me did not understand what binge eating was. I got a lot of, just stop eating, like why can't you stop yourself? If only it was that easy.
I'd love to. Thanks.
I don't know, it was a hard time. I think I was binging for maybe 6 months, ended up putting the weight I had lost back on within 2 to 3 months, which was depressing in itself because it was my 21st at that time and I'd put a lot of weight back on. And it was mentally really hard going from being thin, even though I was unhappy and unhealthy, putting the weight on straight away, not fitting the clothes I was so stoked to be fitting. It was a huge adjustment. And not knowing what to do, because all you hear about, well, all I knew about eating disorder wise was anorexia and bulimia, and I had never heard of binge eating. But I just sat there one day and was like, why can I not stop eating? And binge eating disorder came up as the first thing on Google, and I was like, shit, I need help. What am I going to do? And so I went to the GP.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah. What did they do? I'm interested to know what they said, because you just sometimes don't know.
I've gone to the same doctor my entire life, and she didn't see me for a while, and she looked at me and she could tell that something wasn't right, because last time she saw me, she was telling me I was looking healthy, and I think I was like maybe 67 kilos, so still 10 kilos up from what my lowest was. She's like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not. I think I have binge eating disorder and I can't stop eating. I need help. I can't get through this. And so she put me on a wait list for an eating disorder clinic.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't realize was going to be months on end long.
Oh, shit, was it?
Yeah. She had given me some articles to read, tried to give me some advice, which I actually cannot remember because it probably didn't work, to be honest. I tried everything. I did a lot of Googling. I brought books from overseas websites on trying to get out of this cycle. I was so determined to get out of it. I think I waited maybe like 5 months and I still hadn't heard anything from this eating disorder clinic, and it was kind of getting desperate at that point. I need help. What am I going to do? And lockdown came around too, so that wasn't ideal timing. Being around food all the time was quite triggering for me.
For sure.
So I found a dietitian who was happy to help me, and he actually had gone through the same thing when he was a teenager. I don't know if he's still doing it, but his name was Tom Dietitian on Instagram, and he was amazing. Like, if I didn't find him, I don't think I'd be where I am now. He taught me to listen to hunger cues again, because that's something I completely ignored for a long time in both directions, being excessive and ignoring them when I was starving to the point that I was full but I wasn't stopping. He taught me how to balance my plate. He said you need a certain amount of protein, carbs, fats, and you need fats and fiber to keep yourself full. So I learned how to structure my plate. I kind of had a meal plan, but it wasn't a set, okay, you have to eat this, because the restriction really played with my brain.
Yeah.
It was an options kind of plan, and if I wanted to change it to be something else, totally cool, but just make sure you're including those 4 things on your plate. Yeah, I just did that for a few months, had some relapses every now and again, but they were coming few and far between. And then I found lifting weights, which was the most positive thing in that journey, because I was able to use my obsession of numbers and being so perfect in one way to have an obsession with numbers in another direction of trying to get stronger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all kind of came together at the same time. Lockdown ended, was able to actually go into the gym. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, and it was a bit of a rough ride, and there's not a lot of, I find that there's not a lot of support out there.
Yeah. No.
In New Zealand especially, we're lacking when it comes to eating disorders. But what I discovered is it is so common.
So common, dude. Like, especially like binge eating and bulimia, I feel, especially amongst, and anorexia, but like amongst girls, especially like from like 18, like even younger, 16 to like 30. There's so many women that will just keep it a secret, right? And that you might know because you know, and you're like, I know that you're doing it, but there's so much of it, right? It's crazy. Do you know, like, you've got people in your circle that maybe are doing it as well? Is it that common around you?
Yeah, I would say that 40% of the people I know have struggled with their relationship with food at some point. I obviously am aware of other people struggling because I'm so open about what I've gone through. I've still left it in my bio on Instagram because I think it's a really important part of my journey and what I've been through. A lot of males struggle with it, especially in the bodybuilding industry. They'll diet excessively for so long and binge after show. But yeah, there's a lot of shame around it, and I think it needs to be spoken about more because it is so normal. It's what we go through as kids. We get told that we have to finish our plate whether we're full or not. You can only eat when someone else tells you can eat, celebrating anything with food, emotions, successes at school. Like, it's all kind of just ingrained into us, so it is so common for people to go through it. Yeah, and then also social media. That's another thing that's come in the last few years, is looking a certain way because of what you see online. That 5% of someone's life that you see online and their post photos, it's not their normal, but you kind of think that that's how someone looks, and you're like, why don't I look like that? Yeah. So yeah, you
can taunt your body like this. Like, you can.
Yeah, even myself, I still have, I'm prepping, I have stomach rolls, I have cellulite under my bum, like, it's just so normal.
Yeah, for sure. We're not airbrushing shit, like, we're keeping it real, but it's so normal. But yeah, I agree, babe. The binging, it's everywhere. The more we talk about it, probably the more people are like, oh, it's normal, like, it's actually happening. Like, I know if when I was going through it, if I had listened to a podcast like this, I would have been like, oh my God, there's people like me, because I wouldn't have told anyone. It was a secret. So yeah, talking about it a bit more. And I think talking about how rough the journey is, and also that you don't just overcome it. That was another thing that you mentioned, like, you still have slip-ups. And I had bulimia, so I still had slip-ups. Like, there were still times I'd purge after I'd like overcome bulimia. So it's not like it's over and it's over. It's like you'll get over it, and then it'll happen. Well, you won't get over it, but you'll get better, and then it'll happen, like you said, least frequently. I think that's a good reminder, because people will, like, did you feel like you failed when it happened again, or like, how did you feel through that? But you had a little bit of it
first. It was like really gutting, because I thought I was all the way back at the beginning again, and like there was no way out of it. But obviously it is a journey, and you get better every time. Every time it happens, it's like I snap myself out of it quicker, or okay, this feeling of needing to binge, like what can I do that's not eating that might distract me or move me away from that thought for a while. The way that I look at it now, yeah, I'm recovered, but those tendencies of the eating disorders are with me for life, and it's how you navigate those and are aware and get through them that is the most important thing. So for me now, like post-show it was hard. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. It was really hard. I did have moments where I overate a lot. It wasn't just like enjoying, I don't know, some chocolate. When I open a block of chocolate, I can't just eat one line. I eat the whole block. And I'm well aware of that. So, yeah, that comes with me from my binge eating. If I'm going to enjoy some chocolate, which is totally fine, you can have chocolate post-show. I buy a small bar because it's one serving. I know if I eat it all, then I'm fine. It's gone.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those tendencies are definitely with you for life. It's just how you navigate them.
It's learning about yourself, hey, and you almost treat yourself like a third person, like a best friend in a third person sort of way, because if like your best friend had a problem with binge eating, you wouldn't just go and buy chocolate around them and have it there. Like you wouldn't do that to yourself either. Why would you do, like you just learn about yourself and treat yourself like with new little strategies that are not going to let you just fall back into old habits. Hey, it takes a long time though, right? It's a big journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also getting rid of the labels on food was the most important part of my journey, because even now I don't like to call it if I'm in prep and Shay tells me go have a burger and someone goes, oh, you having burger? I'm like, yeah, I'm having a cheat meal. No, I don't. There's no label on it. If anything, it's a refeed or an off-plan meal, but it's never called a cheat meal. I get rid of the stigma around food or anything to do with chocolate and things. Like I'm allowed it. Why can't I have it? It's not a bad food. It's not a good food. It's just one of those foods that you have in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, I hate that term cheat meal. It's the worst, because it's not, what are you cheating on? It's food. It's all food. Like it's the same.
And when people are like, oh, chocolate's bad for you, that's not a good food to have. No, it's not like that at all.
And don't have it for breakfast every day, but like
but if you want a square of it on your protein oats, balance. Who cares?
Exactly. You're allowed to do that, man. It's all about the balance. Like you said, balance your plate. Like if you've done that, you've covered it all. Like you're pretty sweet, you know, and whole foods. But yeah, that's cool, babe. I'm super proud of you for like getting to where you are and talking about it and having it like in your bio, because I feel like people will instantly connect with you from that, which is a good thing, because then you've got this little like, I'm okay and you're okay and we both have the same past, and like it's just nice that you're open and honest about it. I think it's really cool, and you're obviously strong enough to do that, so I think we need more people.
I mean, I use my social media as a platform that 18-year-old Mel needed to see, so anything that I post or keep on there is like, okay, well, I needed somebody to do that or say that when I was 18. I'm going to post it. I keep it there because it shows that you can work through an eating disorder and do something like bodybuilding. I mean, it wouldn't work for everyone. Not everyone's going to get to a point when they've recovered that they can do something so crazy like diet down on stage, but there is hope. It doesn't rule your life forever. You can overcome it and use it to help you. I actually am grateful for my eating disorder, because I don't think I would be as strong as I am now if I didn't have it. It's all part of character building. I don't think I would have been as aware of how hard the reverse diet would be if I hadn't had my eating disorder, because I've obviously gone through it with rebounding, with losing and then gaining it all back. So it's all been a learning curve. I probably get one message a week from, it's usually females messaging me asking for help, which I feel honoured to actually be that person that people feel comfortable messaging. So
how nice, eh? Yeah, and then you can just either like have a quick chat, or you can pass them on to someone that you might know as well, or like, you don't have to
often it's not in my scope, and I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them, okay, this is what I did, but the first step and the hardest step is actually reaching out for help. So the fact that you've done that, you're on the right path.
For sure.
And often I'd be like, go to your GP and look online at people you could go to. There's a lot of coaches online that can help with eating disorders, but they charge a fortune, which is really hard because people actually need help now, and our public system is so swamped that it's like me. I got a message, I think it was 8 months after being on that public wait list, and I'd already gotten through it by myself at that point and reached out to the dietitian that I said, no, I don't need you anymore.
Wow.
But yeah, it's dire out there. Unless you've got anorexia and you're extremely unwell and need to be in hospital, like there's not enough help for you, which is really hard.
Really sad, isn't it? Hopefully.
Yeah, so sad.
Fingers crossed. And the other thing is, like, you're a bit of an anomaly, because most people will talk about, like, I see this on YouTube all the time and it grinds me, about people don't do bodybuilding because you'll end up with an eating disorder. Have you heard that before? Like, some people I've seen it a few times and I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
No, like, I know that it can send you down a little bit of a wrong path, but maybe you weren't made for bodybuilding. Maybe you chose a sport that wasn't for you. You know, so as well, you've really got to take it as in two things, but you've done the opposite. Like, you've started with an eating disorder and turned it into like a sport, which is crazy, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Like, literally the proof.
I think when you go into bodybuilding for the wrong reason,
that's it.
I would put wrong reasons as you're doing it just to get skinny or just to have stage photos, just to look at the way. You don't do it for the love of the sport. That's when you're likely going to struggle. If you're doing it just to impress somebody or get attention on social media, you're probably going to go down a negative spiral and potentially end up with an eating disorder because you've gone about it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's a sport. Like, it's not like a fitness goal, or like, you know, like, it's not like that. It's a sport, and as soon as you've registered, you're an athlete now. Like, you have to hold yourself accountable for that. You have to be respectful. Like, you have to do all these things, and people are just like, I'm just going to go and do a show, and it's like, don't do that. It's a sport. Research, get a coach, get them to tell you what you're going to be doing, because you can go down that road of having an unhealthy relationship with it. You don't want that. Like, just don't do that. Go do a bikini show somewhere or something, like a more low level, like, but more chill, because it's a really intense sport, as we both know, and it's going to be hard to, like, if you have those problems, to get through those at the same time. But just a little bit.
I think it's becoming less and less, though, because I think a lot of coaches aren't just taking people on board for the sake of having someone on stage. A lot of coaches actually take the time and effort now to get to know the person, and whether, because I was listening to Jordan's podcast and he was talking about how he said no to people before, and obviously Shay's said no to people prepping. I think it's really important that coaches uphold their job of looking after someone's health, because it makes it less likely that someone is going to go down that kind of spiral. Yeah.
Like, what is your why? Why do you want to get on the stage? And if they can't really like a solid, I want to be an athlete reason, then it's probably not enough, really. But it's good that they turn them down. It looks good on them as well, because, I mean, if they end up coaching someone that doesn't even want to do the sport, I mean, it looks bad on the team, and this is not a good idea. So that's good. It's the best way to do it.
They'll have plenty of other clients for before and after photos that they can use, right? Like, you've just got to look after each person.
Yeah, look after their health first and foremost, because that ain't going to turn out well. In terms of your career, babe, what do you want to do with your, like, what do you have like a goal of what you might want to do? Have you gone to uni? What does your career goals look like?
Yeah, so life's definitely thrown me some curveballs over the last couple of years. So when I left high school, I was like, I'm going to be an early childhood teacher. I have a passion for children and look at, like, seeing them grow. It is the most rewarding job you'll ever have. So I left high school, went straight to the University of Canterbury, where I studied for 3 years. So I did my Bachelor of Teaching and Learning, finished that in 2019. I worked for 2 years full-time in an under-twos room. Absolutely loved it. But I injured my back in a preschool picking up a child wrong.
Oh, no.
So that wasn't ideal. I got a lot of comments at the time being like, but you can deadlift 140. How can you pick up a 30 kg child and injure your back and not move?
True.
Like, well, lifting technique's important. So yeah, that was gutting. I was still in pain, I'd say even a year ago. I was off work for a year, maybe 18 months. I missed it, but I think my passion is still in that direction. I'm relieving in preschools now. I do a lot of babysitting and stuff. I don't know. I'm quite up in the air. My whole thing is, okay, let's get this prep over and done with,
Yeah.
and see where it kind of takes me. I would love to maybe own my own preschool one day, because I think a lot of centres do it for money and not for children, and I find that quite hard to be associated with. Should be quality of care over financials. Obviously, you've got to make money and keep the centre afloat, but the children should be the priority. Whether I stay here, whether I move, I don't know. I'd love to be a pro figure athlete down the line. That's in there as well. So I do need to think of what career I'm going to do, because the sport's not cheap.
Yeah.
I have a passion for helping others, so I might dive into doing my PT certificate. I don't know. I mean, I'm 24. People expect you to know by the time you're 24. But yeah, life hasn't gone the way that I would have planned. And that's okay too, because it's all been character building. I had stuff go on in prep last year, which meant that I couldn't juggle my back injury and working and just general life. So I stayed off work for a while. People know that I wasn't working for the last couple of months as well. Mental health is really important. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to teaching. Maybe I'll start my own coaching business. I don't know.
Who knows? You'd be great at it though, babe. I was like, I wonder if she'll be a coach. And then you dropped it. And I was like, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, last year, I did start my PT certificate last year, but I was prepping and I was going through court with my ex-partner for a protection order. Like, there was so much going on that I just couldn't. I had to push it to the side. Once the show's done and I have the brain capacity, then maybe I will.
Heavens. See what happens. Yeah. And then whatever happens with competing happens with competing, because they could take you anywhere, right? As soon as you're a pro, it's like, because I know you're going to be a pro. I can already see it. It's already in my head. It's already happening.
I've got to just keep my head down and keep working, and we'll see if we get there.
Yeah. 100%.
Who knows how long it'll take to get that card? It just depends, like, what happens this year with judges' feedback and stuff, as to whether I dive into prepping for a show next year or whether I do a really long off season and build some more. I'm not sure.
I wonder how many pro cards are at Nationals this year as well, because I heard there's not many. I've heard there's only going to be like one or two, like very low amount or something, but that's all hearsay, because no one knows actually until.
I was going to say they gave out far too many last year, in my opinion.
So maybe
I guess up for it.
I'm like, no, this is my first show. No, it's my first.
Yeah.
I don't want one, but it'd just be so cool to see more pro cards getting handed out, because I want to see the Kiwis getting out there and doing it. And like, some people get their pro card and just do nothing, and I'm like, come on, like, or an Olympia invite and then they don't go to Olympia, and it like breaks my heart. I'm like, what are we doing? So
we need more Kiwis to go represent us. I 100% agree.
Yeah, we have some Kiwis go to like Olympia every now and again. Like we've had Katia, and we had who won the Nationals last year, and he went over there for it, but he didn't compete. He was great as well, but like, we just need more.
I know talking about too.
You know what I mean, right? I follow him. I can't remember his name. He's lovely. But he had some health problem. He went all the way over there, couldn't compete. So I mean, they try, don't they? They're doing their best. We've got some friends going to the Hawaiian Pro this year, and
Leah.
Yes, Leah and Kate, I think, as well. So there's going to be
cool.
Yeah, Kate Carroll's prepping, I think, too. Hopefully that's allowed to be popped into the pod, otherwise that's getting cut.
Yeah, maybe check that one.
We've been talking about it on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge, but I don't know. But yeah, I think there's like two. I think there's actually three. There's a third bikini girl as well. So all Kiwis over there. So it's going to be fun.
Amazing.
But should we play a little would you rather game before I let you go, babe?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right. Would you rather build or cut?
I think I'd rather cut, now that I look at it, to be honest. If you'd asked me in my build, I would have probably said build. But it's hard being uncomfortable in build phase. Yeah,
that's true. It's nice to be fed and have energy, but it's just like that, you feel a little bit slow, right?
It's the not feeling great in clothes and things like that, things not fitting. Like, yeah, I love the energy and the strength that comes with the build, but I think I'd rather cut.
Go for a cut. Love it, babe. Go deep sea diving or bungee jumping? Oof, they both scare me.
Both of those, I would say, oh, no thanks. I'm scared of heights and I hate the ocean.
Same.
I think I would do the bungee jump. I would hate both. I would really hate both.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I think that would be over faster and there's less things around. I hate the unknown of the ocean. So yeah, we'll go bungee jump.
Yeah, bungee jumping, she's sweet. We'll be good. Would you rather a night out or a night in?
Oh, I'd probably rather a night in.
Oh yeah.
But every now and again, it is nice to go out.
Yeah. Hit the Christchurch town.
Yeah, not that it's that great, but if you go out every now and again, then it makes it a point of difference. I think if you went out every weekend, then it wouldn't be so fun. I'm
sure that would get very boring very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a question, because you touched on this just a minute ago, kind of, whether you'd stay here or you'd leave New Zealand. But would you rather stay in New Zealand or move to Aussie like everyone else?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've definitely been toying with that. I think to grow as a person, it would be really good to move overseas.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd necessarily go to Australia though, but it's definitely the closest place to go and easiest to come home and see family. I'm a real family person. So at this point I plan to stay. So maybe stay. Yeah. But I could go either way. I could go either way on that question.
Well, would you move somewhere else other than Australia, do you think, as well? Or like, would that be too far?
I had always kind of looked at the UK. So I have my dad's side of the family is from there. My sister moved over there for 2 or 3 years and absolutely loved it. So potentially the UK, and the bodybuilding scene over there is pretty damn cool too. So.
Yeah, it'd be sick. And you might even end up on Love Island or something. Like,
oh no, thank you. I'll watch it, but I would never be on it.
No, that's what I'm like. It's good to watch, but fuck no. Like,
it's real good mindless TV when you're in prep. That's for sure.
Yeah, and if you don't have any drama in your life, you can just get it from that.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay in New Zealand for now, but watch the space. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
With anyone actually. Would you rather have endless money or endless time?
Endless time.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, money is helpful. But I've learnt to live off not a lot of money, so I would rather have time. So,
and then you can go back. Yeah, I'm with you. Like if like something happened to like someone close to you, you could go back and see them again. I'd be like, yeah, that would be so good.
Yeah.
Over money any day. Would you rather meet Arnold or Seabum? Arnold Schwarzenegger or Seabum? If you like either of them, I figured you probably would, but
that's a hard one. Maybe Arnold, because he's just like one of the originals that everybody knows, and like being able to pick his brains on things, and I mean that whole era is completely different to ours. So being able to him all of his tricks and things like that. Yeah, let's go Arnold. I feel like most people would say Seabum just because he's an attractive male who's around now, but yeah.
I'd say Arnold too though, babe, because he's not going to be around long. He's getting old now.
He is getting old.
He's not a young spring chicken anymore. He's fucking gassed. So catch him before he's gone, guys. Not that he's leaving, but
good point.
Yeah, he's just getting on. He's been around a wee bit. Would you rather break a leg or break an arm?
Break a leg. Then I can still train up a body.
Oh, yeah. Still do shoulders. I reckon an arm would be I reckon an arm would be better because I couldn't not walk around, I think. I don't know.
I mean, at least then you can sit in a wheelchair and wheel yourself places.
Yeah, that's true. And you can still
think not having an arm, like, I don't know, when I babysit and I'm holding a baby and having one arm to do things with is really hard. So I'd rather have...
I don't think it'd be working.
I mean, general life stuff's hard though when you've got only one arm.
Yeah, that's true. It's way harder than what you think. Okay, so break a leg. Break a leg. And that was it. That was my last one. Do I have any others? Would you? Okay. I'll just make one up on the spot. Would you rather do bikini or wellness if you couldn't do figure?
Wellness.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think their legs are incredible, and like just the dense muscle mass. Like if I was to pick something, it would be wellness. Yeah, I don't think I would slot into bikini, unfortunately.
Maybe too much games, babe. It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite athlete too? Who's your favorite figure girl?
I'm gonna say Shay.
Yeah.
Like obviously biased because she's my coach, but before she was my coach and my friend, like always looked up to Shay. I think she's amazing. She's one of the ones that got me into it. So
she's the best. Hey, she's great.
She is the best. Yeah, and she keeps it real too. She's a pretty cool person. So
she's great. She's like super raw, but like really lovely at the same. Like it's the perfect amount of things, you know. Like sometimes I'm just too blunt and I just forget about being kind. But she's like great balance, you know.
At least you muck up, she'll tell you.
Yeah. But that's good.
She said that on her own podcast. She said that on her own podcast about how she can give it. She can definitely give it.
Yeah, for sure. And you need your coach to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Who's your favorite like bikini or wellness athlete? Do you have any? Do you follow any of those girls? Or
Bedina for wellness. She looks incredible, and she is lovely as well. We've got some really beautiful hearted athletes here. Bikini. There's so many that I know of. Like I don't know if I could actually like put my finger on one.
Yeah, there's so much potential there, and like all the girls are great.
I love watching your journey, and I'm very excited to see you on stage. So
shitting myself, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, you're going to do amazing though. So
we were talking about that before with the pod when we like first time show, where you're just like, I don't know what, because you just don't know what you're going to look like. You just don't know. So you're just like,
you have absolutely no idea. You don't know how it feels to be standing on stage in front of people. So it's the unknown that makes you nervous. But yeah, you're going to do really well.
Thanks, babe. You just got to jump in. Hey, just jump in, have a go, and then next year do it better.
Yeah, I actually do have one tip for all the newbies, because it was the best thing that I could have done. I really struggled with the posing last year, believe it or not, like just the confidence with it, until I booked a dance studio at 3 weeks out, because the floor is wooden, like the stage, so it's slippery lino, which you got to get used to, kind of carpets like in all the gym like posing rooms. I was able to wear my bikini and get used to having my earrings in, my stage suit on, and how it felt. And then the lighting as well, because the lighting in the dance studio is quite similar to what's on stage. So yeah, book a dance studio.
Yeah, and then just go in there and get it done, do some posing. Yeah, cool, babe. I like that. At the moment, myself and a couple of my team, we're doing like all the bikini girls anyway. We're hiring like a stage, we've done it once, we're going to do it again next weekend. We hire like a theatre or a school, like a community one, and we get Marshall and Rhiannon, posing coach, physique coach, to come and watch, and they just kind of like call us out, and we're practicing and stuff, because like you see girls on stage and they're like, they don't know how to swap, and like, you know, it's first time, they don't know what they're doing, it's like fucking terrified. So we're just practicing all that stuff, so that any of us were like up there, we're kind of like, oh yeah, 35 move, like there's a lot of like little things you don't think about, right? It's good to practice. So good tip. Anyone else out there doing their first comp, like on your own with a friend, like doesn't matter, just go in there, go take your tripod, like do some
exactly. I think it's Evolve Dance Studios in Christchurch, and I did like my check-ins in there for the last couple of weeks. I booked it for 6 a.m. or something, and they just gave me a code. It was the best thing I could have done.
There you go, guys. If you're in Christchurch, I was going to say Queenstown, Christchurch, go to, what did you say, Evolve Gym, was it? Yeah,
Evolve Dance Studios, I think it is. So it's kind of near the city, which is awesome.
Nice. There you go. Good spot. Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you so much, babe. It's been so good to have you on the pod. It's been so good to chat.
Thank you for having me.
It feels like I know you like super well, but we've actually, this is our first proper conversation.
Yeah, crazy. We've been talking on social media for so long, but here we are.
Fangirl, but it's going to be so good to see you on stage this year. Hopefully I'll be backstage with you at Nationals. Hopefully. If I make it there, you'll be sweet, but bikini's pretty fucking ruthless this year. We'll see how we go, but I'll be there regardless, so I'll see you at Nationals. But have a great
I'll be there regardless too, so
yes, you will. You'll be on that stage, girl.
I hope so, but otherwise I'll be watching.
You'll be there. But did you have any sponsors or anything else you wanted to shout out before you go? Any affiliates that you're with or whatever?
Yeah, so I'm with Explosive Supplements. So that's a new thing, which is really exciting, and I feel honoured to be with them. I also have OxyFit as well, which I'm associated with, and then a new one, which is Obsessed Activewear, which is an Aussie brand. So yeah.
They love it. And have you got codes for them? Is it just Melissa, like if people want a discount or whatever?
Yeah, all three of them. It's Melissa in capital letters.
Easy. Yeah. Nice, honey. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been so good to chat. And I hope the next 7.5 weeks go really well for you. You're going to kill it.
Thank you. And I hope your 11 weeks go well.
Scary times. We'll talk after this comp's done and we'll be like, okay, cool. We've got brain cells and we can talk now.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, babe. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks for talking to me.
All right, babe. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.